Hello and welcome to our author chat that we are having here today with author Jennifer A. Nielsen, who is the author of a brand new release book, Once Upon a Climb. And we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about Jennifer a little bit today and also the book background behind the book, but also the book itself. And so I'm really excited about that to talk and chat about this book. I was given a copy of this book a few months ago. I was talking to one of our editorial staff, and they were sharing the book with me and showing me the pictures, and I just fell in love with it like in seconds. It didn't take very long for me to see what was going on with this book, and I knew when it came out and it arrived, I needed a copy. So thank you for writing such an incredible book that we will tell you more about as we go on with here. Welcome, Jennifer. I hope that you're having a great day, a great holiday. I guess we've just had Christmas and New Year's, and we were just chatting offline before we came on here about our own experiences over the holiday period. Very different to each other because Jennifer has a deadline coming on another book, so she's very busy right now.
We're all very busy, but at the end of the day, I'm so thrilled to be here. It's a new year and a new start, and I can't think of a better way to begin than with this book. So thank you.
It's the perfect book. It really is the perfect book. And what I love about this book is it doesn't make me feel pressured to be, the hot topic in January always is New Year resolutions. What are you going to do? What are your goals? And even though this is really about, achieving dreams and goals, I don't feel like it's one of those typical January books at all. It gives just another, I don't know what it is about it. It just gives us a feeling of like hope I can achieve what I would really like to do with my life. And so that's like the best part about it. For those of you who don't know Jennifer very well, I'm just going to start with a very, very short bio. We're not going to go into a lot of details. Don't worry about that. But Jennifer, you're from Utah. You were raised here. Have you always lived in Utah or have you moved around?
I've moved around Utah, but always in the borders.
In the borders. Cool. Jennifer is a #1 New York Times bestselling author. Woohoo! That's awesome. Of several series and novels, including your Ascendant series. And you've won multiple awards, including the Sydney Taylor Notable Book Award and several state book awards. And this was my favorite part. Jennifer has been a keynote speaker for many writing and publishing conferences. And I believe, we're going to go into this a little bit, but I believe one of those opportunities that you had as a keynote speaker is the reason why we maybe have this.
It's the exact reason. In 2017, that's where it started here.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about where this began, where this story began? Because I would like to know more information. I've been given little bits by people at the office and also by other authors who have contacted me when they heard about this book. They were saying, we heard this when this was shared the first time. And so
yeah, that was nuts. But it started for me a year earlier, before they had even asked me to speak. And all it was is at the Storymakers Conference, which is a huge writing conference, 600, 700 writers and aspiring authors. And for many of the sessions, we're all together in one room. And so you're just in this sea of people who have a very similar dream. And so if you can imagine, you're there with 700 people, but I overheard one specific woman, and it was just her saying, why me? Like, why could I ever think? Because what she was doing the numbers, right? And she was saying there's 700 of us in this one room alone, all of us trying to get published. And this is one room out of a world full of people who would love to tell their stories. And why would I ever presume to think that I would be the one to succeed at it? And in that moment, I realized she had come into this conference so excited and so enthusiastic. And she was already pulling herself out, and it hadn't even ended. And it broke my heart, this one woman. And I thought about her for the entire year after that. And so when they asked me to speak, it was for her. And I hoped other people would listen, but that was the origin of what I was trying to communicate, to tell her, yes, of course you can succeed, and not despite everybody else, but along with everybody else. And I was aiming for a message of exactly that, that there is room for everyone to succeed.
Oh, I love that. I think I feel like, if we move on to the next thing that I wanted to ask you about,
Mm.
um, and really was the whole mountain thing, right? Um, and by the way, I love how you frame all of this at the beginning. Because I mean, for one reason, for me, I can relate. I like to climb mountains. I like to hike. Um, and I haven't been so great at it since I had COVID. I've got very sick from COVID. It has impacted my ability to hike. But I could completely relate to the whole mountain climbing thing. And I love how you start out with Everest, which of course is the tallest mountain in the world and really not a mountain that you can climb by just saying, let's go for a hike today. And off you go. It's definitely one that requires so much time and preparation and thought that goes into that. But one thing that really struck me when you were talking about this is, and this really was something that, stuck out to me the very first time I read through the book, and then as I thought about it a lot, was this the concept of when you're walking on the path and people overtaking you, because that has always happened to me. I feel like my younger years, I was pretty good at passing other people. Now I'm the one getting passed. And it can be demoralizing because you think, as the 100th, 200th person has come charging past you on the path with no breathing problems, and you're there going, thinking, am I ever going to make it to the top? It can be really demoralizing. And this is, I suppose, we talk about comparisons quite a lot in a lot of things. And it's not necessarily that I feel like I'm comparing myself to them, but it just makes you feel like, oh, I'm just not good enough to do this. Why am I even trying? Should I just stop and turn around and go back down the mountain? Which is a thought I've had too many times.
Sure.
So, why the mountain? Like, why did the mountain analogy come in there for you? It's definitely something that I can relate to. And also with that concept of the path. And you mentioned that in the book.
Yeah. You know, I when I did the speech, I opened with an apology that I was going to abuse the privilege of using a mountain metaphor, because I warned everybody I will run this thing into the ground with this metaphor, and I succeeded mightily in running it into the ground. There was no way you could compare anything else like that I didn't already have in there. I pulled in every use of that metaphor because we do understand it, and because it is life, and the idea that, yeah, we are all on the path. But what I really wanted people to understand is of course there's going to be a lot of people on the trail, but we're not all going to the same place. And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if somebody is passing you by. They are headed to their own summit, and they're headed in their own direction, at their own speed, at their own race, and it has nothing to do with you and your climb. And one thing that to me is so important is to recognize that we are, all of us, everyone on the trail, because there is no end point at which you say, now I've arrived, there is no more climbing for me. That's not a thing. And it means that we're one of two people on the trail. And it means if we're a little further ahead and we look back and somebody is struggling to catch their breath, that we have this obligation to reach behind us and offer a hand and say, look, I tripped over a stone before, and I just want to warn you, it's there. And so that you don't trip over it. And we have that obligation. Are you out of breath? Do you need help? I can pull you up higher, because it doesn't threaten me to pull somebody up higher to where I am. If anything, it just makes me stronger, right? And if we're behind and there's somebody just zipping past us on the trail and it just looks like their climb is so easy, well, then we have the obligation to ask for help. and that is okay to say, "Look, I tripped and fell back there. I skinned my knees pretty hard, and now it's harder for me to climb than it was. Can you help me? And can you teach me?" And as long as we recognize that we're one of those 2 people, and we are both of those at some point on every trail, well, that's how we all start to climb higher on the mountain. And what else should we do in life but help each other climb or continue our own climb forward?
Yeah, I love that. It made me think about how many times when you're going up, how many people who are coming down will say, "You're almost there," or, 10 more minutes, or "You've done the worst part," or "There's." I always find there's so many people willing to offer that motivation because they know how hard it was for themselves getting up, and is this ever gonna end? Um, and so I love that about humanity, that people will reach out and they've experienced something for themselves and they know what you need just to do the last little bit. Um,
Right.
it's just fantastic.
But we should do that, I mean, obviously, literally on the trails, I've benefited from that too, when I'm like, "I am
Yeah,
done." But, sometimes there are people, though, in our symbolic, uh, climb who didn't reach the top, and then they turn around and they come down and they say, "You won't reach the top." And we have to be warned about those people. We only listen to those who say, "10 more minutes, you've got this, keep
yeah,
going."
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, one thing that, that I feel, I don't know, I think it's something that you do talk about a little bit in the book, is this preparation and being, you know, don't start climbing without doing what you need to do first. And that is absolutely key to a successful, you know, conclusion to it. And it reminded me, about a year and a half ago, we were in Moab. And for those of you who are familiar with Utah and Moab and that area, it's very hot and dry most of the year. And we were up, climbing up to the arch. We'd lived in, well, I've lived in Utah a long time. My husband's from here, but we'd never done that hike to go see the Delicate Arch. And we were hiking up there and we'd seen all the signage down at the bottom by the parking lot that had said how much water everybody needs. Um, and we always over, you know, prepare for water. We just always have. Um, so we usually do bring water back down with us whenever we hike. But it was interesting, as we were on our way down, we were actually not far from the bottom, that there was a large group going up, and each one of them didn't have any backpacks, and each one of them had just a normal regular bottle of water in their hands. And some of them were almost out. And I was thinking, you guys aren't going to make it to the top. Even if you really want to, it's too hot. Like you've already gone through this much water. And, it's that really has struck me as something that, as we look at what we would like to do with our lives, or goals that we might have, what are we doing to prepare for those? So that we're ready to do it. And I think about a conversation I have with my daughter. She's now studying in Korea, and you know, it took her a few years to process the getting ready for that, the application time, the frustration was there from the very beginning. I want to be there already. I just want to start now. That's years down the road, and what's the point if it's going to take me years to even get to the start point? But now we can see the benefit of the time that it took to do that. And a lot of the things that we want to do, we might have all of the wishes in the world, but it doesn't just happen at the click of a finger. It does take time to prep and to get in a good place. So I really appreciate that very, very much a pivotal part of this story and this book. So
But I think, and I totally agree. And I appreciate exactly what you experienced with your daughter, that you walked her through those steps and showed her the benefit of that. I do think it's important to define what that preparation is. That we don't mistake doing something for doing anything. And I think sometimes, we mistake busy work for progress. And it's not. I mean, just because you are busy at something, it doesn't mean you're climbing. And sometimes and we have to really look at what am I doing to prepare? Is what I'm doing getting me closer to that climb? Or am I just circling and circling and circling and exhausting myself moving in a circle? And so we look very carefully at what, make sure your preparation is for the thing you are trying to do. And it sounds like for your daughter, for your life, that's exactly the way you framed it. You bring enough water.
For sure. I really love this comment here that someone just made. They said that that was the biggest revelation for them. Am I busy or getting closer? And so I love that you talk about that because, sometimes we think we're doing it and we're not. Like I said, we're just scurrying around and not moving forwards. So
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. You're trying to move into, right? And all you do is move a box from one room to another and you're exhausted just shifting boxes from one room, but you haven't unpacked anything. So yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good at moving and not making progress.
Yeah.
And so I know how that feels, but nope, we want to be on that mountain.
So we have a comment here from Christina. Actually, it's more of a question where
Yeah.
she said, "What do you do about the hecklers along the way?" What are your thoughts about that?
Um, you, okay, let's talk about a few possibilities. I spoke to a woman yesterday who talked about the hecklers and the naysayers, and she said those are her fuel because she says she loves it because that's what motivates her to defy what they say is possible for them. I remember when I very first said that I wanted to be an author, and I remember standing on my front lawn and explaining that to my neighbor, and she was like, "Isn't that nice?" Like, in the same tone as if I said I want to stand on the moon one day, right? "Isn't that nice?" And she was like, "No, there's no way." And then I later spoke to an author, somebody who had done that climb. And I said, "Not only do I want to get published, I want to hit the New York Times list one day." And he looked at me and he's like, "Oh, honey, that is never going to happen." And I thought that was so amazing. This is somebody who had walked ahead of me, who is telling me there was no way. The other thing that really struck me one time is there was a very close friend of mine, somebody I loved, and I knew she loved me. And I had published book number 4 when she said, "So, are you like really serious about this writing thing?" And I was like, "Book 4. I think I've kind of proven this is a big deal." And she was the one of everybody who frustrated me the most because I knew she loved me. And I thought, how could you care about me and not understand that this is my climb? And how could those things go together? And for a long time it was frustrating to me. And then one day I realized it's all right. She does love me. She does care about me. And that's fine, but she's not on my team. And it doesn't make her evil. It doesn't make her like somebody I need to push out of my life. I just recognize she's not walking that trail with me. And that's okay. And so these naysayers, these hecklers, these people who get in your way, they're irrelevant. They're absolutely irrelevant. They are not your team. We never listen to the failures. We never listen to the people who do not believe in us. They can love us, they can care about us. But when you are climbing, they are absolutely irrelevant. So you say thank you and you turn to your team, and they are the ones you listen to. Nobody else matters.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's just a powerful message of hope there, Jennifer, because I feel like um, we're hearing a lot of voices these days that are kind of telling you if somebody's not, you know, on your team, as you say, that we should get rid of them. Let's get them
Oh,
out of our lives. And sometimes we need to, right? We've got to have good boundaries and be
these
healthy. But
toxic people
but we don't need to get rid of everyone, right? And so I love the way that you framed that. That was fantastic. I'm loving the comments, by the way. We won't have time to address all of these things, but Jennifer, maybe we can get on later and respond and chat to you
Oh, I
later.
love that.
Um,
Please, if you have questions, put them
yes,
in there. We'll answer
yeah,
them.
yeah, put them in.
Quickly.
But thank you for the comments in there. There's some fantastic things in there that people are saying, sharing. So I'm intrigued, Jennifer. what does failure look like to Jennifer A. Nielsen? What does that look like on your path that you've had, you know, to becoming an author or other things that you've had to face?
I'm going to start in the Wayback Machine and explain to you what failure, where it originated for me, like really understanding it. And that was my junior year of high school. So I am abysmal at math. Not bad at math. I am abysmal at it. So much that in my first term of my junior year, I flunked, got an F. And it wasn't because I didn't do the assignments. It wasn't because I wasn't there. I was there every day. An F is what I earned after I had done the best that I could. My best was below 60%, that threshold. And so the second term, I thought I'm going to try even harder. And I did. And I got a D minus. Not because I earned a D minus, but because the teacher had mercy on me. I had earned another F, but he wanted me at least to have credit for the class. And second semester, I quit math. I didn't take it my senior year. I chose my major based on avoiding math. I chose a college that would accept my minimal ACT score so that I could clip out of the class in college. And I did everything to avoid math. And I walked out of that class feeling so stupid, literally, because how could you be an intelligent person and earn an F? And I thought I thought I had been smart. I thought I was competent, but clearly I had it in black and white. I was a failure. There was my proof. And in college, I had this amazing teacher who talked about that your IQ, your intelligence, it's not a number. It's not this fixed amount. We all have different abilities and different things we are good at, and we all have things at which we are abysmal, and that's normal. And she gave me permission to be an intelligent person, even if I had earned an F. And that revolutionized my life. And so, yeah, have I failed in publication? I mean, I'll show you. This is my little thing. This is my sum of my failures, right? This is when I started saving them. I get it. I get it if you have received your rejection letters, if you have felt stomped on, if you have been rejected time and again, if you have not gotten the job, if you have not gotten the offer, have not gotten the contract. I get it. At the same time, I understand this, that thing that you want to do, that climb that you want to make right now, as you are, you have everything you need to succeed. Now, you might need to work on it. You might need to develop some skills and talents. So did I, and so am I. But you are, as you are enough to make the climb. That's what I learned in that college class. It changed my life and is always in the background of any failure I have or will continue to have.
Love it. Thank you for sharing. I think it can be very easy for others to look at where you're at now and not know the path that it's taken you to get there. You know, and a lot of assumptions then get made, right? About your journey, and sometimes, you know, it takes a lot of vulnerability to be able to share that sometimes too, like to open up and be like, well, hey, you know. So I really appreciate your willingness to share that, Jennifer, and to share your rejection letters.
Yeah, but also to understand, I still fail.
Yeah.
Still today, there are things that I write that my editor's like, that is not publishable. And there are things that, you know, I try that I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't show this to my mom. And she kind of likes me. And that's okay, right? That's art. We're going to fall all the time. It's not about falling. It's about getting back up again and keeping those muscles to stand again, keeping those strong so that we'd never fall down and stay down, because that is never what we are meant to do, ever.
Love it. So I wanted to just ask you as we wrap this up, and keep on posting your questions on this. This video is going to be, I know we're doing it live right now, but it will stay up on our pages and on our YouTube channel too. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments, and we can look through them afterwards. But I wanted to ask you, you know, what is your hope? You've shared some really great things about the book. What is your hope that this book will do for others out there?
I think there's a lot of people who are discouraged and they feel like they are just kicking against a brick wall over and over again and getting nothing for it but, damaged toes. I think there's a lot of people who doubt themselves and who doubt that they have a future and a way forward. And a lot of people just starting out and they're like, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I don't even know what my dream is. I just know I want something more than what I have. And my hope is that somewhere in these pages, there will stir something in you that says, I think I can do this. And even if it's a low summit, I can get there. And by the time I get there, I'll be ready for a bigger summit. I hope people read this and start to climb. That is what we are meant to do. Every one of us is meant to stand on top of a mountain and breathe in the air and live.
Absolutely. I wanted to share, for those of you who haven't seen the interior of this book, this is just the perfect gift that you can give. It's the graphics and the design inside are just spot on, so beautiful. And it's what I love about it is not really heavy on the text. I mean, there's a lot of text, but it's not heavy text. So even for somebody that isn't a big reader, this is the perfect gift to give. When I first read this myself, immediately the names were popping up in my head of who needed to read this in my own circle. And like, I've got to get a copy for this person and this person and this person, because I could identify that what they have shared with me, they are struggling with. And I thought the answers are here. So it's a great price point at $17.99 and available at most retailers. And also, I don't know if people know this, but you can request copies of your local library. That is something you can do with books. And I've done that many times too. So if you would like your local library to have a copy and they don't, you can put in a request, usually on their website. And that's also a good way to get a copy, not just for you, but everybody in your county. You can benefit as well. So thank you, Jennifer, for coming on and joining us this morning. I know you're super busy. You've got a lot going on right now, so I appreciate you doing that. And also, if you would like to know more about Jennifer, she has a website. It is jennielsen.com. So feel free to go look her up over there too. And we'll be sure and get to these questions that are here in the comments. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Jennifer, thank you for being here. It's been really fun. And have a good day, everybody. Maybe we'll keep chatting. I'm trying to.
Just an awkward silence that follows.
I don't know what's going on with my computer. So,
well, in the closing minutes, thank you, Shadow Mountain, for a beautiful book and all your hard work and for your interest in me. Thank you all.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I love that we've done this. I've done this book with you. I mean, I suppose it's easy to, I don't know, to be like, this is the first, I guess, Jennifer, I was asking her before this even started, did we have any, was there any other nonfiction titles? I didn't think there was, but did she have any others? And she said no. So I was really, really kind of glad that I hadn't missed something. So this is a real treat to get.
It has been for me as well.
I don't know. I'm having some real problems here. I've lost my connection. This is the problem I'm having. Magic everything, magic keyboard and magic mouses.
We were talking about how tech, as a rule.
I know. We started with that, didn't we? We were like, the tech never worked.
We started, and everything was working so well that we just thought, oh, this is an exception to the rule because tech is working perfectly today. That's when we cursed it.
I know. And then you have a Apple computer with magic everything with no wires. But I have my connection back now, so we should be good. Thank you so much for everybody. Somebody did ask about a movie. She's going to come in and answer that.
I'll get into the
Thank you so much for everybody for being with us. Bye.
Bye.